Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hard Count Football Podcast Live. My name is Jacob Charnow, leader of the next generation of football fans live on the Hard Count Football YouTube channel and, of course, on 1252 Sports. Guys, it's March 27th. We are just a month away from the NFL draft, meaning there is a ton to talk about around that. Just a couple weeks ago, I did my first mock draft. Don't worry, there's not another mock draft coming today. That's coming in just a few weeks. But the top 10 looked completely different than what it does now, right? So the Broncos are no longer picking at 9. Now the Seahawks come in. They jump in at 9, which changes the conversation for not only the 8 before, but look at 10, 11, 12 with the Jets, the Commanders, and the Vikings. Right. So now there's a ton more to talk about with this new fold in the mix. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. Of course, we're going to be joined with Harry the Greek to talk about everything. He'll come on in just a second. We had a lot of signings, a lot of trades, of course, because this has been a wild offseason. There's a lot going on in South Beach that we'll talk about. There's a lot going on in Atlanta, a whole hell of a lot going on in Cleveland. So to talk about that, and talk about all of it, I'm going to need my guests in here right now. Let's bring him in. Harry the Greek. I'll give you the harp. I'll give you the harp. How you doing, man? Good morning. What's going on?
You know what? I tell you what, I'm a pretty blessed individual, man. How you doing, Jacob? The weather, you know what? We got to do that. It's still, winter, springtime up there north in New Jersey and Chicago. I don't know, 71 degrees outside, not a cloud in the sky. Tell you what, it is beautiful.
Beautiful,
man. Absolutely beautiful. Man, what a week in sports. Why do we got to talk about football? I mean, let's talk about what's happening in your own state. I mean, come on. The college has got like 2,200 students. That college is, I hate to use the word poor, but the funds are so not there that they couldn't even send the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Did you know that? They couldn't even send their own cheerleaders. What a story St. Peter's is.
Yep. St. Peter's Prep. Doug Eder went to a high school just a little bit away from me, which is pretty cool. One of his old basketball coaches used to be my old basketball coach. So me and Doug, yeah, that's a fun fact. Me and Doug are like this now. Not at all. But man, it's a crazy story for St. Peter's. My boys down in Jersey City. You love to see it. You really do. Because it's you see a similar Cinderella story, never with a 15 seed, but you see a Cinderella story every year. But this one feels a little different, right? Because all the other schools, sometimes they're schools that you've heard of. Sometimes they're schools that like Loyola Chicago was a miracle run, but like Loyola Chicago also people have heard of that school, right? I promise you, nobody had heard of St. Peter's Prep unless you went there or you lived near there before the tournament started, right? And they take down the number 2 seed. They take down the number 3 seed in Purdue. And now they're looking to take down today the hottest team in the tournament in UNC. So can they do it? We'll see if the magic continues for the Peacocks.
Look, I know everybody in Chicago, like David Schuster and Fred Hubner and Fat Mike and everybody else out there is rooting for St. Peter's, as I am. No chance. There's just no chance. I just don't see them beating
Kentucky. There was no chance they'd beat Purdue.
Oh, Kentucky! Let me tell you something. I shout out to Scotty Tolles. We call him Mr. Kentucky. He's a guy that works for me over at Tires Plus here in St. Pete, and huge college basketball fan. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if these dingbats lose to this St. Peter's College. Never even heard of them. Sure as crap, they lost. True story. He said that Kentucky is not as good as people thought they were. They were very overrated.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I obviously we're polling for the Peacocks here, but I do think they could beat UNC. I really do think they could beat UNC. Fun fact: you can't bet on even if you live in New Jersey, you can't bet on St. Peter's. I think it's the only state where you can't bet on in-state college teams. So
Don't even make me go there. I already know the reason for it, but go ahead.
just watch and enjoy if you're from Jersey. Just pull for the Peacocks. Just pull for the Peacocks. Harry, but there is football to talk about. There's a lot of football to talk about. Where do you want to start here? Let's start with the big one from this week. All right. And I know I'm just going to get it off my chest. Tyreek Hill traded from the Kansas City Chiefs to the Miami Dolphins for a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a fourth-round pick. Now, the report was that was a very, very quick day. This was a trade that developed quickly because it was reported by Schefter that the two teams in the mix for Tyreek Hill were the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. Now, what apparently happened was the Jets on Monday had a deal in place with the Chiefs to get Tyreek Hill. Then on Tuesday, the Dolphins jumped in, and that deal happened quickly, and Tyreek chose the Dolphins. But if Tyreek Hill were to go to the Jets, the pick the Jets would have had to give up was not number 4, was not number 10 even. It was pick 35 and pick 38. And I think their third-round pick. For probably the most dangerous receiver in all the NFL. The most, right? I mean, the speed, the quickness, the hands, all of it. And it hurts as a Jets fan, not because we didn't get Tyreek Hill, not even because he didn't choose us, because in reality, it made no sense for him to choose New York, right? His family's from Miami, no state income tax is huge. And then the Jets listen, it's hard to get players to come to your team when you haven't won more than 7 games in, a decade, right? The part that hurt the most was Tyreek Hill going to a division rival, was now having to deal with him twice a year on the Dolphins. Because now for the Jets, who have had a great offseason so far, and you cannot bash Joe Douglas for this deal, because he tried. Ultimately, Tyreek Hill just chose to go to Miami, right? Joe Douglas put a trade in place where you could have gotten Tyreek Hill and kept picks 4 and 10, and then again, Miami makes Tyreek Hill the highest paid receiver in the NFL just a week after Devontae Adams was paid to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL. And now, as the Jets, who have signed so many free agents, have really looked to transform this offense via free agency and now most likely via the draft. Now they have to deal with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen twice a year, and then defensively Von Miller, all those guys in Buffalo. You have to deal with the Patriots, who, listen, you look at their roster, it looks incredibly mediocre right now. It does. But the Patriots, they're obviously a well-coached team. And for some reason, the Jets refuse to beat the Patriots ever. And then now you have to deal with the Dolphins. And you spark that rivalry up kind of a little bit with, now Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And, they sign Teron Armstead, that left tackle, to a massive deal. So they're revamping this offensive line. And then you have to deal with a really solid defense in Miami twice a year. So that's 6 games now. And the Jets, listen, they need to get their stuff together is the point I'm trying to make here. Because you want to compete in your division, you got to make a big splash. You have to make a splash if it's this free agency and you trade for, the names I'm hearing, DK Metcalf. AJ Brown is the name I'm hearing, which I doubt they trade for him, which I doubt they move him. But now if you can't get him and you now have to make an impact in the draft, you have to hit on these draft picks. You have to. Because in my opinion, I think the Jets have a wide receiver 1 with Elijah Moore. But having One wide receiver one will not a wide receiver one talent. Only one of them will not be enough to help you win this division and transform this offense and develop Zach Wilson into that quarterback that the Jets drafted him to be. You need two pieces. Look at Joe Burrow. Look at the dynamic offenses around the league with these young quarterbacks, right? You look in Cincinnati, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins are arguably both wide receiver ones. I think that's without a doubt, right? You move over to Los Angeles. You move over to the Chargers, right? The Chargers have Keenan Allen, and you want to talk about just weapons in general. Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. You have Mike Williams. So you have two dynamic receivers. These young quarterbacks that are successful, they have not solid. Solid is not enough anymore, especially in the AFC when all these players are coming to the AFC and it's getting more and more competitive by the day. You can't just have solid players. You need to have great players on your offense surrounding your young quarterback. You have to. It is a necessity. You know, if not only the Jets, the Jaguars, if you want Trevor Lawrence to develop into that quarterback you want him to be. You need great pieces, or you can't just have good. You need great now in the NFL, right, Harry?
Easy.
No, this is something that
This is really bothering you, Sonny. You've aged like 30 years. I can see the gray hair starting to come on the side of your head. What does the NFL stand for? The NFL stands for no, really super bad word logic. Okay? Now, understand what I'm going to say here. Number one, I'm going to lead off by saying the Jets are not going to finish in the basement in their division this year. Let me tell you why. Because history goes to show you that teams get too enamored with multiple marquee players that they purchase. Do you understand? Very few teams can pay huge contracts the way they do, and then they succeed. And I can give you a plethora of multiple teams that have done what the Dolphins have done what the Buffalo Bills have done. Not so much the Bills, but what the Raiders and all these teams that are just signing all these huge contracts, and all of a sudden they end up being duds. Whether or not it's because of injury, there's too many egos, they don't have enough time in the locker room, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let me tell you something, young gun. The New England Patriots, the first part of the year didn't play too well, and all of a sudden they started to ascend. They plateaued and started to decline. The reason why they declined, because Mac Jones is not as good as everybody thinks they do. And you can send me all the hate mail you want. He's not. Anybody, Jacob, you can line up under center and I can run in the X position and I can run 5-yard patterns and catch the ball and pray to God to break a tackle. Okay? Just not going to happen. They have a decent running game and they have a decent defense. Let's go back to your Jets. I've seen ups and downs all year. I've seen a lot of motivations. I've seen where they didn't want to quit. Teams that win build through the draft. If it's not this year, it's going to be next year. But I promise you one thing, Jacob. The New York Jets are not finishing in the basement this year. Now, let's get back to Miami with Tyreek Hill. Count your blessings. You didn't need him in New York. The New York Jets definitely did not need Tyreek Hill. Would it have helped? Yeah, but not for the cost of what they wanted for him. Any team that has to give up 5 draft picks, not 1, not 3, not 4, 5 draft picks, 5. We're not talking about Jerry Rice. We're talking about a one-trick pony who can catch the ball in short spaces and really gain a lot of yardage. Granted, both Tyreek Hill and their other wide receiver,
Waddle.
Waddle, they're going to be the 2 fastest receiver tandem ever in the National Football League. Ever. Okay? And yes, it's going to be kind of scary. But there's a lot of ways you protect against that. Okay? There's many defenses that can protect against that. So do I expect huge things from Miami? I'm not as optimistic as other people that are out there. Okay. And you'll remember, you can timestamp me saying this. Okay. The New York Jets are not finishing in the basement this year. The New England Patriots are going to finish in the basement this year. Your division winners are going to come from the 3. It's going to be Buffalo, Miami, then the Jets. If the Jets can turn it on and plug in a couple of mediocre tier players, go out and get themselves a true number 1 wide receiver without having to give up 100 draft picks to do it. You need a possession receiver because Elijah Moore can do both. He can be a possession receiver. He can line up anywhere on the field. He's got great hands. He's got really good speed. They need a running game and they need a little bit more cohesiveness with that defense. And I'm done with the Jets, but that's my take on it. Right now, I'm telling you, do not bank on the Patriots making a push, okay? That's not the team you got to worry about. It's Buffalo. Buffalo's still the team in that division to look for, not Miami, and definitely not New England. It's Buffalo.
Yeah, I just can't. My
Whew,
problem,
I'm done.
my problem is like you look at the Jets, right, and you look at everything going on within the AFC, and the Jets' history the last 10 years. This is not a team right now that oh well, third in the division is good. We don't want
Right.
to. Oh, we finished 7-10, and oh well, we can look forward to next year again, and it's the same repeat stuff over and over and over again.
It's just like washing clothes, man. One load after another. It's rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. But I need to hear your opinion on what I'm telling you because I don't know if you believe it or not. Ask anybody who's been watching the game for more than 30 years. Please. I implore you to do it because you can actually answer it. How many teams have you seen spend big, huge money, not just huge money? Let's leave Tampa out of the equation. These people came to play with a particular player because he took a lot less money. Okay. Name a team in your generation that you have seen that has bought an entire team that's won it all.
No, none. But I couldn't think
So
of
what the
one.
hell are you? So why is the trend going to be any better? Do you know why these teams do it, Jacob? Truly, do you know why they do it? Because they're going to sell more jerseys and they're going to sell more tickets and they're going to make even more money. They know you can only win by building through the draft. That's it.
Yeah, I just
Take the Tampa Bay Rays in baseball, for example. What's their payroll, Jacob? Bottom 3 in baseball? In the past 5 or 6 years, who's had better records than the Tampa Bay Rays? Do you see them signing any marquee players? Absolutely not. This is all the talent that they're developing.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now that's the other extreme. That's a cheap ass that's down here that doesn't want to spend any money. Okay. That's the cheap ass that wanted to get rid of Evan Longoria and other players because pitchers the whole 9 yards. Let me tell you something. If they had 2 stud pitchers on that mound, 2 that you can actually remember who they are, they would have won the last 2 World Series, bar none.
They kept. I guess if they keep Snell, they keep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just bringing in retreads, and they have $100 million payroll. Come on, give me a break. But teams that generally have to buy teams other than the Yankees, in which, by the way, the Yankees, since we've already went off on baseball for some reason, they're regretting all those moves. There's a lot of dissension going on right now.
I can't even talk about the Yankees. They make me so angry.
But that's the point. That's the point that I'm trying to make to you, Jacob. Don't be too enamored in what's happening in that division, just like what's happening out in the other with Kansas City and everybody else. That division, that's a different story what they've done. Because they didn't just pull in star-stud wide receivers. They brought in defensive players with Khalil Mack. And they brought in an offensive weapon who, by the way, I'm absolutely loving. And you know what? Devontae Adams is a better wide receiver, in my opinion, than Tyreek Hill.
No, he is. I know, but
he's a more complete package. And why is everybody so enamored with this Tyreek Hill thing?
The thing is, I watched the Jets before this year. Forget last season, right? The last 3 years before that, try and develop a young quarterback. And the mistakes that they made with Sam Darnold.
Right.
I'm worried that they are going to make again, which so far, the problems that I've seen, the problems that Darnold had were lack of offensive line, lack of weapons around him, lack of defense, and from what we're seeing, lack of talent.
But you have a defensive-minded coach there now. And again, I don't want to sit here all day long and talk about the Jets, but I'm just telling you one thing. Stop worrying your little head about it because that offense is going to be just fine. They're not abusing Zach Wilson. They rushed him back from that injury. They should have made him ride that pine when he got hurt the entire rest of the season. That could have ruined him. Okay, he got enough playing time. This is year 2.
His best football came after his injury, though.
It's irrelevant. You don't want to bring him back that soon. You're going to kill someone's confidence, just like they're trying to do up in Chicago. Nothing personal, because they're going to kill this kid too, just as bad as they killed Mitchell Trubisky.
So let's now my thing with the Dolphins, the big question here in all of this is, you can have the left tackle, you can have the receiver, you can have 2 receivers, you can have the defense, you can have the running back. Guess what? If you don't have a quarterback, none of it matters. None of it matters. So, Harry, in your
I gotta
opinion,
laugh at this. I gotta pull this up because this is pretty funny.
the
Does
Bucks are.
this mean the Bucks are getting to a turn the ball over? Good morning, Troy.
So, Harry, here's my question to you: Is it? I mean, I guess straight is Tua the answer in Miami? Is he going to be able to lead this offense and this Dolphins team to the next level, or did Tua just get the benefit of getting a coach from the Kyle Shanahan system where he won't have to do too much in this offense to succeed?
They're going to run the ball. They run a lot of zone blocking, and when you have those two type of wide receivers, you're going to have a lot of Debo Samuel setups. But then again, nothing personal. That was last year. Everybody has that playbook. If you don't add some wrinkles to it, you're going to catch on. I.e., what happened with the it was the run and shoot back with Jerry Glanville way before your time, and then what recently happened in your lifetime in Philadelphia when they were running that super high powered offense where it was a hurry up offense the entire game. I mean, everything gets caught up to, just like the Wildcat. Trust me when I tell you, it's there's going to be wrinkles that they're going to find, and they're going to go ahead and be able to stop this. But yes, he is going to benefit. I am a Tua believer. Okay. Uh, I've always rooted for the underdogs. It's really easy to root for the Dan Marinos and the Joe Montanas and the Steve Youngs and the Tom Brady's of this world. But it's really hard to get behind the Tua Taga turn the ball over for his name is, or the mediocre mid-tier quarterbacks. I mean, let me tell you something. Some of the best Super Bowl wins and the most convincing wins came from quarterbacks that you have a hard time remembering.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't know. In my opinion, I don't know if Tua is the answer there. I can't see it happening.
Who is? Who is? Who's out there right now?
A great question. That's a great
Well,
question.
Mitchell Trubisky? I mean, he's not out there now. If
No.
they would have got him, would it have been an upgrade? In my opinion, it would have been an upgrade, but not for that type of offense.
I think
Tua's gonna be just fine in that system. Watch.
if you're the Dolphins and you want to make an impact, you were in on that Russell Wilson deal. You were.
That, my friend, in that offensive system, that would have been really scary. It really would have.
Yeah.
But then again, there's too many personalities, too many big heads there, man. I'm telling you, I'll be very surprised if it works.
Yeah.
On paper, it's going to be great. This is when, I hate to talk in the third person. This is when the Greek starts to look at over and unders, total wins for the season. And all of a sudden you see Miami, it'll be 13 wins. You just pound the under, man. I mean, these are things when you haven't won that many games just because you brought 3 or 4 players, and doesn't mean you just went from a 8-9 win team to a 13-14 win team. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Even the great Tom Brady last year in year 1 in his system, it took him to the middle part of this. I'm sorry, in year 1, 2 years ago, when they won the Super Bowl, it took him a half a season just to even get acclimated to where that offense was really clicking. Do you honestly think they have that much time in that division with Buffalo?
No.
Okay, good. It's a little bit different here in the NFC South because let's be real. Atlanta stunk for a long time, and Carolina's been pushing the rowboat backwards.
So you want to talk about Atlanta here? The Atlanta Falcons get Marcus Mariota. They send Marcus Mariota to be their QB1.
Oh, look who's here. I think I froze up. What happened?
I don't know.
Mike, are you there?
I don't think so.
Oh.
We'll pull him out. He'll come back in when he pops up.
Hi, Mike. How you doing, buddy? Oh, there he is. Mike, you there? I don't hear you. I don't hear the mic.
Whatever. But the Atlanta Falcons get Marcus Mariota. I like this move for them. I do.
There he is. There he's not. Oh, he's trying to come in. Are you too big for your screen? I can't see you. I can't hear you.
When he's ready, when he's ready, we'll see him in the back room, and he'll give us a thumbs up. But it's clearly it's not working right now.
There he is again. Mike, when you're ready, come in because I don't see you moving or talking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I like this Mariota.
Raise your hand if you're not frozen, Mike.
He's pretty frozen, I think.
Yeah, he's frozen. Oh, there he is again.
I like this Mariota move,
Do
Harry,
you really?
for the Falcons. I
Okay.
do. I think that he deserves another chance. I think he was never going to get a chance on a team that was, a quarterback away. We knew that. And hopefully this can be hopefully he can prove that he can take this offense with limited weapons and limited ammo and do something special with it.
Put me in the back room for a second.
Okay. Yeah, no. So I love this. The Mariota move I think is great. So yeah, like I was saying, a team with limited weapons, a team with limited ammo can he take that offense to the next level, right? In a division with Tom Brady, right? And besides the Bucks, who else, right? Jameis Winston, his, class of 2015, this draft class of 2015 rival, if you will. And then the Carolina Panthers, who are probably going to be rocking with Sam Darnold as of right now, they're rocking with Darnold. Mariota has a chance to take this team and let them finish second in the division at their peak. Can finish second in the division this year. On the floor, if he really is not very good, they'll finish last in the division, right? So if you don't have the pieces, if the defense is really that bad, if the offense is that bad, they won't win more than 4 games. The team in the NFC South, though, that I really want to talk about is the New Orleans Saints.
Why? Because of Jameis Winston?
That's exactly why.
Where's the running game? Where's the passing game? Give me a break, man.
Kamara will be able to establish a run game. He's a top back in the league. Michael Thomas will be coming back. I see them going receiver in the draft this year. I see them going with James Williams.
I thought Michael Thomas was injured and he wasn't really going to come back. That's what I had heard. So he's going to be all right. That's going to be fantastic. But you talked about the Atlanta Falcons. Man, are you really not wanting to talk about the elephant in the room?
I will talk about that in a little. We'll talk about it after.
Oh, okay, because you know exactly where I want to go with that.
Yeah. But the Saints, man, you remember the Saints last year before Jameis Winston got hurt? They were 6-2 before he got hurt, Harry.
Yeah.
They were 6-2. They won 6 football games before Jameis Winston got hurt. Now if you look in the draft, I think the Saints are picking at 18. Yeah, they pick after the Chargers. Eagles have 15, 16. Yeah. They have pick 18 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to say Jameson Williams. I think Jameson Williams is a top receiver in this draft class. I don't care about his injury. I think he's going to come back and be a top receiver. But the name that I like for the Saints this year in the draft, Harry, if you want to really transform this offense, you go and get Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State. Speed, hands, all of it, everything you want. And he fits. What does Jameis Winston do better than anyone, Harry? What does he do?
Nothing. Throw interceptions.
No. What does he do? What can he do? What are his strengths? That man can throw the deep ball. That man can throw the ball far.
Let me tell you something. Jameis Winston has the propensity of, well, that's not even the correct word to use. Jameis Winston can throw a deep ball. You're absolutely correct. He has really good touch when he has time to throw the ball.
He will.
What he doesn't have feeling for is backside presence. And that came right from the horse's mouth from the head coach that I know personally, that he said he has no backside presence whatsoever, but they need to solidify that left tackle position. I mean, completely solidify it. But with this new coaching staff, are they going to have a lot of slants? Are they going to run a lot of the West Coast offense? Because that's where he'll succeed in. You put him in a Tampa style offense, and that's when he's not going to be as successful.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think he'll have to do that much with the Saints. I think that they're going to keep going with the run game. It's going to look very similar even without Sean Payton there. I think, right, if you get Chris Olave, now you have Michael Thomas doing what he does best, which is run slants and get open and catch the football, which he's right. Let's say he only runs slants. He is the best in the league at it. Yes.
Right.
Then you have Chris Olave deep, bro, and it transforms. It really does. It transforms that offense. It brings like a new, like you said, wrinkle into this offense that it's going to be difficult to defend with especially a team in the NFC South who has when the other 3 teams have honestly, secondaries that do struggle.
Right.
They do, right? Right. The Bucks defense, the Bucks secondary last year was fine. Right. They were hurt, but even when they were healthy, they were fine. And now you lose a key piece in Jordan Whitehead. And now you have to fill that role with someone else. And you get Carlton Davis back, but you still don't have that second corner. You don't. Not one that's going to be a consistent lockdown guy. I think this is a Saints team that could compete for the division this year, if I'm being honest. I really think they can.
That's going to be tough to do.
Because if Jameis Winston never gets hurt, I think this team's a playoff team. And I don't think there's any doubt about that. I really don't.
That could be. You have a definite valid point there.
Yeah.
Definitely have a valid point there.
Well, the elephant in the room you want to talk about with Atlanta was not a was if I'm thinking it was a quarterback, but it wasn't a quarterback that's playing for the Falcons anymore. That would be Matt Ryan, who was traded to the Colts earlier this week. Do and make calls. That's not this show.
Not this show, buddy.
Not this show.
Hashtag free Kamara. Reminds me to tell you what happened on Friday night show. I will do that.
Okay. But yeah, Matt Ryan was traded to the Colts. And it's not the Matt Ryan. So we could talk about the Matt Ryan side of this, and the Falcons side of it, which was the Falcons eat the most dead cap in NFL history by trading Matt Ryan. The Falcons now lose their quarterback of the last 10 years. They lose and whatever. And then Matt Ryan gets a fresh start on a team that is ready to win with the Colts. The problem is that the Colts refuse to get a quarterback that can do anything to transform this offense.
You and I are going to disagree so much in here, because if you honestly think, and I got to stop you in your tracks, I love you like my own son. If you honestly think that Carson Wentz is an equal or an upgrade to a Matt Ryan, zero.
Not an equal or an upgrade. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying,
Matt Ryan's going to feast in this offense because of that running game. And the defenses are going to have to respect that running game and those wide receiver duels that they have out there. You think you had good receivers in Atlanta? Wait till you see what they're going to do with mediocre, not even as good of receivers when they had Julio Jones and Calvin Wrigley, the gambler, by the way. Trust me, they're not even as good as those two were a couple of years ago. But they haven't had a running game like they're going to see in Indianapolis. Trust me, Matt Ryan is that team right now. If you can get long enough odds, bet them to make the Super Bowl, because that's my dark horse right now to go to the Super Bowl because of Matt Ryan.
The Colts are my dark horse every year, Harry. I always think, the quarterback that comes in, it's a guy who needs a fresh start. He needs a new whatever. It's happened last year with Carson Wentz. The reality is, even if
Pull
Matt
me into the back room again, I'm sorry.
Okay. Even if Matt Ryan's okay, the Colts will never make the Super Bowl unless they have a quarterback that can take this offense to another level. And the reality is, I watched Matt Ryan last year. I watched Matt Ryan the year before. I don't think he can do that for this team. I don't. I think he's good. I do think Matt Ryan's good. I think he's going to be better than Carson Wentz was in this offense. Hell, I think the Colts might even make the playoffs. I think the Colts might even win their division this year. Where I have an issue is that the Colts seem to be settling for mediocrity at the quarterback position, which is something that I can't get behind. I can't get behind it. I've talked about it 1,000 times, how you can't settle on quarterback in this league. The Browns realized it, and they went out and they got Deshaun Watson. Right? You can't settle on mediocrity. You can't do it. If your guy can't win you a Super Bowl, can't win you playoff games, you get rid of him. That's how it works. There's 32 starting quarterback positions.
Yep.
There's more than 32 good quarterbacks in this league. But as soon as you but you can't just have good. You need to have great. And the Colts have the roster around Matt Ryan.
See the Ducks?
Yeah. The Colts have the roster to make a Super Bowl run. They don't have the quarterback to do it. They haven't had the quarterback to do it since Andrew Luck.
Well, the best quarterback that they're going to have here since Andrew Luck is going to be
They're settling.
Mr. Matt. No, they're not settling. I'm telling you, Matt Ice is going to make that difference on that team. Can you imagine this team if they would have had Andrew Luck?
They would have won a Super Bowl by now.
Oh yeah,
No doubt.
without question. Without question.
My favorite. He was my favorite player, Andrew Luck.
Without question. But Andrew Luck, he did the smart thing. He didn't want to get concussed anymore. He doesn't want to end up with CTE.
And
You know, he put his health before his before his personal passions, which I thought was great. But man, I got to respectfully disagree with you. I really think that the Indianapolis Colts could be a dark horse team this year, and you can get some serious odds with it.
I don't know. I think so. I think this is a team that can win the division. I think this is a team that can maybe win a playoff game. This is a team that can't. This is not a team that can win the Super Bowl, Harry. This is not a team that can win the Super Bowl.
That's because they lost to Jacksonville. They got caught with their pants down. That's all.
Well, they've got to really step it up. They have to. They have to upgrade the secondary. They have to do a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, they have far less pieces to fill in a hole.
They have one hole to fill. They have one hole to fill.
And it's not on offense.
And it was at quarterback, man. It was at quarterback, and I don't think they solved it.
They solved it.
I guess time will tell. Time will tell.
They solved it. Loved it. Absolutely loved the move. Move on
to
your next team.
They also need they also need probably one more corner. Probably need they need to upgrade that secondary a little bit.
Can we talk about the Chicago Bears a little bit?
Sure, why not?
When are they going to sign any players? What are they waiting for stuff that's 40-year-old?
They almost had one.
Yeah, really? Oh, yeah, almost. Okay, you failed your physical. Give me a break, man. Look, I honestly think that they're going to end up, when people start getting cut, I think that's what they're going to surround Justin Fields with. Mediocre players. They're going to try to solidify that offense a little bit, and they are going to draft the absolute dog crap out of the defense.
You know who they got? Who was that guy? Who they get? Byron Pringle from the Chiefs?
Yeah, the guy's good.
He's good. He's not going to transform this offense at all.
No, but he's going to help. You got Darnell Mooney and Pringle.
Oh, because Pringle's a huge upgrade over Allen Robinson. And he's really going to complement Darnell Mooney well. And I love Darnell Mooney, but you don't just throw him into the fireplace this season. Don't let him crash and burn.
He's not a WR1.
I think they'll draft a receiver. I do.
You really do?
I think David Bell, Christian Watson are all names to look out for the Bears.
In the second round.
In the second round.
Okay. I'm going to tell you this. What they did to that defense, they will hang Matt Eberflus and everybody else in that organization if they don't go after someone defensively and the best defensive player on the board, the first pick that they get.
The problem is, who are you going to get in the second round? That's going to make an immediate impact.
I have no idea. That's your job, not mine. I'm the one who watches them after. You're the one that sits there and studies every stat.
The problem is you don't have a pick in the first round.
No.
That's the issue. That's the big issue, right? Because you're picking at pick 7 this year. If you have your pick, if you don't get rid of Trubisky and whatever, I won't get into all of this, but you have your first round pick this year. You can get a guy on the board. Look who would be on the board at pick 7 versus pick 52? Like, come on, right? Like, so let's say the draft goes like Hutchinson and all those.
I think they got two second round draft picks this year.
Do they? They might. I don't know.
Yeah, because of the Khalil Mack trade.
Oh, right. You're right. They probably do now. No, I think they have them next year. Oh no, the second round pick is this year, third round pick is next year. Either way, that's a late pick because you have the Chargers pick. So let's say Hutchinson goes first, and then whatever. The combination of Thibodeau, Evan Neal, Ikem Ekwonu, Sauce, and all of them go. You're now left, and you can get a guy at 7. Like the top receiver in the draft, the top corner in the draft, there's so many ways you can go. A top edge rusher, bro, Jermaine Johnson, you can go that way with it. But now you trade up for your quarterback, and now you can't help your quarterback via the draft.
No, they're going to help the quarterback. I just think that they're going to grab some players. I don't think they're done, going through free agency and stuff like that. And players are going to be getting cut. Trust me, there's going to be some surprise cuts, especially on the offensive line that they're going to grab. I
Yeah,
believe you're right. I don't. There's so many wide receivers right now in this draft that I don't think they have to take one in the second round personally,
I
unless one of those first rounders drop there to them. Then you have to take them. But honestly, I think there's going to be one later round in your later round draft picks. I mean, let's just put it this way: there's more mid round wide receiver draft picks that make it that become superstars in the NFL than there are top 10 picks. Hello, Devin White.
the reality is the guys, and I've heard that a lot, and yes, you're right. You're right. Those second round guys are guys those mid round guys are guys you find that are good, and they turn into stars. But now you start looking at first round. A lot of these first round receivers are working out in the last couple of years because you have more. You take a more analytical approach to the wide receiver position than the eye test, which is better, right?
Correct.
But now in the second, and the guys who don't, if a receiver doesn't work in the second round, the bulk of guys that then do work out, those not first round guys that turn into stars, are second round picks, Harry. They don't really go past. I'm sure there's obviously a few big names, but the last time it was a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round guy that turned into a stud, like, you have to go back a lot of years. I mean, the main one I can think of, the main last one, big name, is Antonio Brown, but that's a swing in the dark at that point. Now you know about everything. Now you know about the analytics of the receiver position. You know the analytics behind most things, which is why you see more of those early round picks and those guys turn into stars. That's the reality, right? Scouting is getting better. The transition from college to the NFL is not as big of a jump as it used to be. So that's why look, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, all of them are studs because, they were studs in college. That's the reality. Right? They're studs at top schools. They were studs in the SEC, which is, Harry, we know, you know as well as I do that's the conference you really want to get your players from if you're looking at it, right?
Yeah.
The approach to the NFL draft this year, draft every Georgia defensive player you can. Between Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, Lewis Sine, all these guys, I think they're all going to be stars. That looked like the most pro-ready defense in college football last year, Harry. There's a reason they did what they did. There is, but whatever. I don't like the way. I think if the Bears are gonna do what they can to help Justin Fields, they need to do it at receiver in the second round with one of those second round picks at least.
Like who? Give me some ideas. I'm kind of curious.
Sure. Well, for receiver, Christian Watson, David Bell, John Mechie, Sky Moore. Those are just four names that I really, really like.
Why do you like Sky Moore, if you don't mind me asking?
Sky Moore.
What is it about him that you like?
Sky Moore is a name I've heard the least amount about up to this point. And I've done the least research on him. So, but from what I've heard, Harry, he's a high motor guy. He's sneaky athletic.
One of those deals.
No. He's good. Okay. He's good, but he's the least. He's my least favorite option of the four. If you want a guy you're gonna love, David Bell out of Purdue. Kid's a stud, and I don't know why I see him falling in all these mock drafts. He shouldn't. He might, but he really shouldn't. You want a guy who can complement Darnell Mooney well, because Darnell Mooney reminds me of I don't think he's as good as Elijah Moore is going to be. I don't know if that's whatever. I think Darnell Mooney's great, but I think from what I've seen of Darnell Mooney, I love watching him play when he's outside. I love watching him move around. I don't like when he's just in the slot. I think you can really move him around you want a slot guy who can get open, get separation, do all that. David Bell is your guy.
Right.
He is. But I don't think Christian Watson will make it to you. But if he does, just do me a favor.
Start rooting for him.
Do me a favor. Just go watch his film. Go watch his. The kid's a monster out of North Dakota State, man. He's so good. He is so good. And the final thing I want to talk about with you, Harry, before we wrap this thing up, is the Seattle Seahawks, because we talked about them. They move into the top 10 now. With this Russell Wilson trade, they get the Broncos pick at 9. Do the Seahawks roll out with Drew Lock as QB1 this year? Or do they go with a guy like Baker? Or do they try and snag up a guy if he's there, which I don't know if he will be based on what I saw from him the other day, with Malik Willis, who, Harry, I don't know if you remember, but even when Kenny Pickett was being talked about as the QB1 in the draft, I said, this kid Malik Willis out of Liberty, he is the guy. He is the guy this year. And then his rise up into the top 10. But I'm telling you, this Malik Willis kid is a stud. If he's there at 9, there is no doubt in my mind the Seahawks should snag him up. No doubt in my mind. Right? It's what are you going to, you're going to roll out with more mediocrity in the second most competitive division in the NFL right now.
Right. No.
In the NFC West, you're going to roll out with Drew Lock. You're going to roll it with Baker Mayfield. Come on, right? You need that stud. You need a star. Sure, if you want to rebuild if you're the Seahawks, but because now they do have the draft picks to do it. But what are you going to rebuild around? You're going to be paying your receiver in DK Metcalf a ton of money if you keep him. You're going to have to your defense is hot garbage right now. You're just going to pay DK Metcalf a lot of money and hope it works out and hope to get these little pieces around him. It makes no sense here. I don't know what they're doing over there. You tell me. Because you think they're going to roll out with Drew Lock this year, or you think they're going to go with a quarterback? You think they'll bring in Baker? I can't see what they're going to do.
Baker Mayfield still needs to find a home, and I still think it's either going to be Seattle. My top pick is going to be Detroit, believe it or not.
Drew Lock, Baker is not better than Jared Goff in this. Jared Goff proved himself in this offense a little bit last year.
Oh God, here we go again.
Baker
Mayfield played hurt literally the entire year.
He's gonna crash the ball in Detroit. I think if
do you really think so?
If you're the Lions, Harry, this is my opinion, but if you're the Lions, I'm drafting Malik Willis at number 2. I am. He is the top quarterback in this draft.
I watched his pro day. It looked really good. But, man, the passes going to the left, they were so far behind the receivers, it wasn't even funny. There's nobody on him or anything. I don't see what everybody else is seeing about him. Can he run? Yep. Can he throw a deep ball? Yep. And he also has that hitch in his release. When he's bringing the ball back, it's got that delivery. It's from Texas to Canada out through Oklahoma. I mean, it's just a long delivery.
Yeah, the thing it's not the pro day that I watch. It's because you watch the pro day. Yeah, that's whatever. But that's in shorts and whatever, and everyone looks good in their pro day. It's the game film, and when he is hurried, he gets the ball out quick and he's accurate.
You sure?
I think he's better when he's more accurate with the short release too. And guess what? If you want no time to throw the ball, go to Detroit. That's where he'll thrive. Unless Detroit's just going to roll out with Jared Goff for another year and just see what happens next year,
right.
Just when there's more quarterbacks that people like. But the top 10 is going to be the Malik Willis sweepstakes. If the Lions don't get him, look for the Giants in the 5 or 7. The Giants don't get him, look for the Panthers, then the Seahawks, hell, even the Falcons at 8. He's not making it out of the top.
So you think Malik Willis is going to go top 10 this year?
I think that's almost a lock right now from what I'm hearing.
That's strong.
Yeah. But do you think the Seahawks do roll out with Drew Lock?
If they don't get Baker, yes.
Ugh, that would be awful for them. I think they might even go with Kenny Pickett, honestly, at 9. If I really don't think they believe in him at all. I don't think they believe in Drew Lock. I think it's it's a mask for what they're doing in the draft.
That could be, yeah.
All right, Harry, I'm gonna let you get out of here because I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you?
First off, thanks for having me on. It's a beautiful day in Tampa Bay. God, this weather is absolutely gorgeous. Hello to all my family and peeps up in Chicago and, of course, in New Jersey that are watching the show. You can find me on 1252 Sports or the Sports Web Friday nights, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. We have a lot of new wrinkles to our show. This past week, it was pretty interesting. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a little teaser. We have a segment called Hot Take Jailbreaks. It's a lot of fun. Don't miss it. We'll talk to you soon, Jacob. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir, Harry. I'll talk to you later, man. Peace.
Go Bears and go White Sox.
Yeah, sure. Peace, brother. All right, guys. And with that, we're going to wrap today from the Hard Count Football Podcast Live. My name is Jacob Charnow. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Special thanks to Harry the Greek for coming on. Be sure to check out the over-under on Friday nights, like he said. Go follow me on Twitter, at Jacob Charnow, Instagram, at Hard Count Football. Subscribe to the Hard Count Football YouTube channel. And, of course, check out all the other shows from 1252 Sports. I'll see you all next Sunday morning.